Good afternoon, Montana Educational Talent Search students, families, and friends. We are coming to you live from Helena and online with Washington State University today. Normally, we would be on a bus traveling to lots of cool campuses to check out what different colleges have to offer our students, but because of COVID, we're doing it virtually. So today's guest is Washington State University. So I will let these lovely ladies introduce themselves.
All right, I'm Erin Templeton. I'm going to be a junior coming up this year. I study bioengineering, and I'm involved in undergraduate research, a bunch of academic clubs, and as well as Greek life. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I can go next. Bonjour, Joel-Indijnakas, Makondo Day, Maswaganing, and Donjaba. Hello, everyone. My name is Joelle. I'm a member of the Lac du Flambeau Band of Lakesford Chippewa Indians, located in northern Wisconsin. I serve as the retention specialist for Native American programs here at WSU. So if you are a student, you come to WSU, I'd be the person, like your one-stop shop to help you with anything you might need help with. And then I run our Native American Student Center on campus.
Awesome. There's Maja. Hi. Go ahead and introduce yourself. You're right in time to introduce yourself.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm just coming from.
Okay.
My name is Maya Gillespie, and I am the Assistant Director of Student Services and Outreach for the Financial Aid Office. So I oversee a bunch of the state funding programs, work study, a lot of funding sources for students. I also have some history in the scholarship area too. So I used to be on the scholarship team, so I can answer questions about that kind of stuff as well.
Perfect. And then Amethyst.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good deal. My name is Amethyst Freibot. I work for Washington State University Pullman as an admissions counselor. So it's my job to make sure that you guys are all set up to get to school whenever you're ready to do so.
Perfect. So we have a really awesome team to talk to. So I'm going to ask questions. You guys can jump in. If more than one of you wants to answer the question, please feel free. So first and most important, tell us what makes Washington State University stand out for prospective students.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I can definitely speak on this one. So WSU definitely has a lot of really special things. When I was looking for my school, I actually toured about 50 universities, so I've seen quite a few. So the fact that I chose WSU really kind of says something that we really have something special going on. And I think the main part of that is kind of just the Cougar family and the Cougs Help Cougs atmosphere. A lot of people are driven towards like academic success. We're a tier 1 research university. So I was able to get involved with undergraduate research super early. Our campus, unfortunately, you guys are unable to see it, but there's definitely virtual tours and pictures online that you can check out. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the size of our university was also one of the things that I really loved about it, because it's big enough where you can meet a new person every day, but still like small enough where you're able to bump into a friendly face in about every class. So yeah.
That's awesome. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I'd say too, from the Native perspective, we have over 100 different tribes represented on campus. Wow. And about 900 students that identify as Native American. And so if you are a Native student wanting to come to WSU, there's definitely a Native Coug community there for you. And students will say that with our student center, they kind of have their own home away from home and different organizations they can get involved in, which has been really nice with their adjustment and just finding those that are like you as well.
For sure, that's awesome. Awesome. So we're kind of focusing on health science programs. This is what a lot of our students are interested in studying as they get ready to go off to college. So what are your most popular or most conferred health occupation degrees?
I can answer this one if you want.
Go for it.
Yeah, our most popular degrees are probably nursing and then pre-medical sciences. So we have like a biology for the medical field. A lot of our students who are planning to go on to medical school after they've attended WSU will choose an option somewhere in the sciences. And then we have a whole resource center called the Health Professions Student Center that's prepared to walk alongside every student to make sure that they have the courses that they need, the grades that they need, and the preparation that they need to get into the grad school of their choosing after attending WSU.
That's awesome. Anybody else? No? Okay. What about job placement for your students after they complete their degree? What's that look like?
I can answer this one too. Job placement tends to vary per college. So if you're looking at something that is in the education field, you might have 99% job placement. For looking at our health statistics, about 89% of our students are getting into graduate medical school after they've completed their WSU degree. So it's a pretty high placement. If you have any specific questions about your field in particular or your medical school, we can hook you up with that Health Professions Student Center, and they'll have a little bit more of a pulse on the specific demographics moving forward.
For sure. Which reminds me, if you viewers have questions, make sure you're typing them in the comments, and then we'll get them answered by our amazing professionals here. So next question is, what kind of supports do you have for first-generation college students? Because the majority of the students in our program will be the first in their families to attend college.
I can kind of touch on this one a bit. I have a lot of friends who are first-gen students, and it's super cool. There's a whole first-gen office and faculty that work with the students, and it was really cool because one of the advisors actually came in and talked to my chapter and talked to us about grad school and everything. So they definitely set up first-gen students to really succeed at WSU, and it's a really cool program. I've definitely seen the effects of it on my friends, so it was cool to experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
There's also some. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll go really quickly, and then Maya, you go ahead. There's about 30% of our students who are first-generation students, so they're the first one in their family to attend any institution of higher education. What's really great about that is that you're going to be amongst people who are in a similar boat as you. Everybody's kind of learning how to college for the same time, asking the same questions at the same time. And we have lots of support services like TRIO support services, Smart Start, First Scholars, lots of programs that we can get you connected with on campus to make sure that from moment one, when you're applying to WSU, all the way until you graduate from WSU, you have the support that you need to make sure that your questions are being answered and that you're set up for success.
That's awesome.
I was just going to piggyback off of that. Some of those programs do have scholarships and waiver programs and stipends specifically for their first generation students too. So also, if you are applying for WSU and you do the general scholarship application, there is a question on there asking if you're a first generation student. But I think anytime you're applying for scholarships, that's something you might want to include because there are some scholarship opportunities that are specific to that group of students. So that could definitely help out in that regard.
Very good to know. That's awesome. Sounds like you guys have a really great support system set up. So the other thing about our students that we serve, 8 out of the 9 school districts that we serve are on or near reservations here in Montana. So we've heard a little bit from you, Joelle, about how you guys support Native American students on campus, but is there anything else you want to add in regards to that?
Yeah, so when we talk about pre-health professions, we also have a pre-health professions cohort, I guess you could call it. You have to apply, but it's a group of Native students who are going into different pre-health fields. You take, I think, like one course together. You have study tables. You have an assigned tutor for you. And then we partner a lot with Native Health Sciences on the Spokane campus. So they actually have a team and staff there that's working towards Native health and doing all sorts of different initiatives. And so we have connections with them, and we sort of have like a pathway program set up. And so if you do choose to come to WSU and you're interested in one of those pre-health fields, we have support there as well. Also, for all incoming multicultural students, we have the Multicultural Student Mentoring Program that we partner with Multicultural Student Services. So everyone gets matched up with a mentor, and they're kind of supposed to help and guide you through your transition, your first year, invite you to events, different things like that, answer all your questions that you might not want to ask like an adult or somebody working at the university, and they've been there, done that. So we have that as well. Like I said before, we have different student clubs on campus that you can join, and they're always doing different things such as activism work, bringing in speakers to campus, just a place to hang out and talk about whatever's going on in life. And then the Student Center is just a place for students to study, hang out, take naps. There are free printing and computers there for students to use. In normal times, when we're open, we often have free snacks. Our big event that we do is First Friday feed. So every first Friday of the month, I cook lunch for whoever wants to come eat with us. And you can come and get a free meal, which is nice, and socialize with folks. And then every year now we've been celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day on campus. And so we actually put up we have a TPR program. We put it up on the campus mall, and we sort of a celebration that day along with Native American Heritage Month in November. So there's all sorts of things happening all the time along with our staff. Some institutions, they have like one person to work with the Native students on their campus, but we have like 5 staff members. And so we have a recruiter. So maybe you've seen them in the past. I don't know if you can see them this year, but maybe virtually somehow. And they go and recruit students to come to WCU, and they're a Native person who works with our department, and they'll help you with your application if you need help finding scholarships, whatever that might be. They're really that resource and tool for you. And then, of course, when you get here, there's folks like me to work with you one-on-one with anything you might need. The biggest thing people ask me about is scholarships, and we do have those, and I think we'll get to that question. But if you need help finding them or need help writing your essay or whatever it is, I can work with you one-on-one as well. So there's a lot of support for Native students on WCU's campus, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maya, is there anything you wanted to add from the financial aid perspective for Native students?
No, I was going to say, I think you covered a lot of stuff there. So I think I'm good. If we're going to talk about scholarships and stuff later, we can address it there. But
yeah, that's our next question. So what financial supports are available for students on your campus?
Do you want to address that first, Joelle? If you know, or do you want me to?
I can, yes. I'm hoping I don't butcher what the terminology is, but we do have 2 big scholarships out of our office, sometimes 3. One's the Plateau scholarships, and one is, I think it's called the MOU scholarship. And so with the support, we have a program. If you are one of our 12 or 13 MOU tribes that we are associated with, there's a scholarship you can apply for, and you just have to have a certain GPA. And sometimes you have to get a letter of rec from your faculty or somebody that you know. That should be easy. Just have them write great things about you. And then if you're a member of a tribe that has homelands in the state of Washington, like say you're Nez Perce or Umatilla or whatever it might be, even I think there's some way you might be able to get in-state tuition. And so there's rules about that too, even if you're coming from out of state, depending on what tribe you're associated with.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and in addition to that, again, going back to that general scholarship application, it's kind of like, I don't want to say like a golden ticket, but it's one application that puts you in the pool for a lot of different scholarships. But we do have one that's going to be based off of some of the admissions information like GPA and that kind of stuff, I believe, but also looking at like community service and a few other different things. But it's going to be the Academic Achievement and Diversity Scholarship. And there's some that are set aside specifically for Native American students. In addition to that, we have a really cool scholarship search engine on our site that has different filters you can do. And so we've just provided these opportunities where donors have contacted us. We've gone out to make sure they're all legitimate sources. Right. And so it's up to the student just to go out and apply for them. But we have that. And I was going to say, I thought there was one other thing. Oh, so we also are the office that processes all the financial needs forms. So a lot of times tribes are going to be giving money to the students for school. And so we process all those forms and work directly with the student and the tribe to get that going. And then that comes through, I think, as a grant or scholarship, and we add that to the financial aid package for the student.
Perfect. Awesome. Anything else anybody wants to add? No. So if any of our viewers have questions, make sure to pop them into the comments and we'll get them asked to these lovely ladies. And make sure you like and share so that other people can check this out. And now we're going to move to the student focus. So Erin, you talked a little bit about what made you choose this campus. What's your experience been like so far? What was the biggest learning curve for you?
Oh, it's been amazing. There's a lot of learning curves at college, and that's kind of expected. But I think the biggest thing that helped me grow was definitely my undergraduate research. That was the coolest opportunity. I got to do it in between the summers, kind of starting the end of my freshman year, and it carried over through the summer going into my sophomore year. I was actually supposed to present my research. I was given a research opportunity, like my own project and everything, underneath a professor, which was super cool, especially from a freshman who like only knew the general sciences. It seemed kind of over my head at the time, but the WSU like faculty and staff, they're just so amazing, and they walk you through everything and really want to see you succeed. So I was supposed to present that at our Circa presentation, which is basically an undergraduate presentation for all like undergraduate research across all fields. Unfortunately, that got canceled, but it was still such a cool opportunity. So yeah,
it sounds like it was pretty amazing. That's awesome. Yeah. What about what's been your favorite experience so far about being a student at WSU?
Definitely the campus atmosphere. Just all the people who come to WSU. It really forms a family. Our football games are always super fun. There's so many clubs and activities to get involved with. Unfortunately, a lot of that's on hold, but the connections from all of those things are still like very prevalent. And yeah,
that's awesome. Any advice that you have for high schoolers who want to attend WSU?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that definitely try and, well, I guess you kind of finished up your senior year already, but finish up that strong. That's always our advice to students. But if you want to come to WSU, just do well in your academics. Try your best for that. It's a really welcoming school, and we love to have like a variety of students on campus. But I would say definitely just try to find your home, and hopefully WSU's it. So
awesome. Any advice in general for students who want to go to college, just any college? What advice would you have for them, any of you?
Oh, I have some. Just looking at, I mean, in my passion, and I went to school to focus on financial education, so I'm really passionate about it. And also as a parent, I'm like, oh, this is on my mind.
Right.
To have that conversation with your parent and talk about money, and when you're looking at schools, and so maybe it's not WSU, but if you're applying for schools, familiarize yourself with their costs of attendance, and then what types of aid are available. Looking at our school, for the state of Washington, we start the earliest out of anybody. Our priority deadlines for the FAFSA application is earlier than anybody, and it's going to vary depending on what school you're looking at. So keep that in mind when you're applying to schools, looking at in-state, out-of-state, but then making sure you're aware of how much it costs to go to school, and what kind of aid options are available.
Yeah.
Because it's not fun to have a surprise, the week before school or the week of saying, oh, I have to do what? And I was supposed to ask when, and all that kind of stuff. But so just kind of planning ahead, and also talking to the parents too, because now it seems to be a little bit more common that it's not just all relying on financially, that there's maybe some outside sources. So maybe that parents have set aside money in a savings account, or you have a lot of money from graduation, or you have community scholarships or tribal scholarships. So taking all that stuff into account to see what you have and how much of the federal aid you might need.
That's good advice. Anybody else have advice for our students?
Yeah, I usually tell all of my students to consider 3 primary things when you're picking the right institution for you. The first one is to look and see if they have the major that you're interested in. So whatever you've been passionate about or whatever you love doing, if there's something that you like to talk about and that never gets boring for you, find a place where you can study that and that you can study it in depth. Just like Erin mentioned, we have undergraduate research opportunities. There's lots of ways to get involved on campus. So if you get excited by a specific subject, make sure that you're seeking that out in your institution. The second thing I always mention, and similar to Maya, make sure that you're looking at the affordability factor. So
Right.
take into account the cost of attendance, how much money you have set aside, and then financial aid. Just like Joelle mentioned, we have really great MOU agreements between lots of reservations that have their homelands based in Washington. So you could get in-state tuition to attend Washington State University, even
Right.
as a Montana resident. So that's super awesome. And then the third thing, I always recommend that students look at their priorities as far as campus community goes. So
Right.
you can have the perfect major and you can have the perfect cost of attendance, but if you don't have the right support system, friendships, or opportunities that you're looking for, the ability of you to succeed on your campus might be a little bit less than if you had a supportive community behind you. So make sure that you're doing the homework ahead of time to see what sorts of clubs there are, what sorts of programming and departments that we have, to make sure that we're kind of covering all the bases so that you never feel that you're going at it alone. Because one of the biggest things about WSU is that we are a community. I hope that you find that no matter where you choose to attend. And if you do choose WSU, great. We'll help match you up with the services you need.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I don't think we have any questions at this time, but if our students are catching the replay, put hashtag replay in the comments. And if you have a question, you can just put it with that hashtag and we'll make sure that we get it answered for you. So thank you so much for joining us. If you missed yesterday's events, you can check them out on our Facebook page. We had Great Falls College yesterday and Carroll College on Monday. And tomorrow, tune in and we will have Gonzaga with us. So thank you so much for joining us, Washington State University. It was a great pleasure to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.